Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss about Vidya, DANVEER. Share wisdom, the nature of enlightened souls. Let me make it one thing very clear. If you want to come to the impeccable wisdom of any subject and every subject, you must have had previous lives of excellence by and large. That means your birth by and large is a reincarnation. And as a matter of fact, all the intellectuals who are trying to do wonderful work in maths, physics, chemistry, medical sciences, or otherwise are enlightened souls who have reincarnated after brilliant past. I'm not comparing anything, I'm only talking of the mathematician, physics, chemistry, medical sciences are the ones who are talking of the perfection by and large. They were Brahmins who wrote Vedas and Upanishads, and they are in tune with universal consciousness. And the one who wants to be perfect with integrated wisdom has to be reincarnated. This is a statement which I make it very, very clear. Now comes the question is, all these people who are reincarnated, they are born with Antaratma, which is goddess Aditi or Kundalini, you call by any name. And it is a helium-4 which is synthesized in the sun, and fraction of helium is released, which becomes human consciousness and soul, and with that soul only we become the perfect human beings. That's the beauty of every human being. We are born with that. The one who follows the truth, follows Aditi, becomes a perfect like God and godly people. People who do not follow, they go through the process of imperfection because they do not have the concentration, contemplation of the self within the body, of with Antaratma and self, and not realizing. That's one statement which I'm making it very clear as an honest person, because everything in my work is only through my personal experience, is not a copy of any of the books or otherwise. Now comes the question of the first thing which comes to my life, very, very important, is Karma Yoga. The person who does the work perfectly with the intention of perfection only can reach moksha, knowledge, truth, non-violence, otherwise not at all possible. So Karma Yoga is the first concept which is very, very important for everybody, and I go by Karma. I do all the work of 64 arts and sciences myself. My A to Z is done by me. I do not expect any servant or anybody or anyone to execute my job in any form. And that's it. Then comes to the question of second thing which is very, very important to me is the Bhakti Yoga, the devotion for divine nature. As I am devoted to Antaratma within, which is Aditi, also in the external world, I had the pleasure of being born and brought up in Katra, which is the hometown of Mata Vaishno Devi. She represents Saraswati, Mahalakshmi and Mahakali, all the three. And she also is representation of Trikuta as the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. And I make it one thing very clearly when I say DANVEER, it is of Saraswati, the knowledge, Lakshmi, wealth, and Parvati, the moksha. All the three put together. That is dharma, earth, kam, moksha, and that is karma. I talked about it. That comes only when the deity is also represented. I see Divyank in all the three pindis which you can see, and also the Om which I made more than 50 years ago also represents the same thing which is there in Mandukya Upanishad. That's the thing which I experienced, and I think I'm just representing that. Now, as I told you, the Trikuta mountains, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali are the three things which give me the wisdom of all things. Only person who has enough money does not look for somebody in any form, in any financial thing. He take care of his own education, money, everything by himself through his own work, through his own conscientiousness, is the one who can be thing. No reservations, no borrowing, no beg, nothing at all. And the person who is educating himself with the perfection from beginning till the end, will get to be in universal consciousness like a Brahman, otherwise not at all. Copying without realizing what is written and understood is the biggest problem. And that is something which I realized as a child from school, college, university till today, that all the knowledge given in all the books of maths, physics, chemistry and other things which are the core itself are defective. Forget about the other subject which absolutely there is no thinking at all. No Democrat can be a good person and no dictator could be a good person. No copycat can be a good person. Only the person who experiences that within self and makes it clear that wisdom is ultimate. Only that person can give the wisdom to others. And that is what Vidya, Dan, Veer. Veer is a perfect person. Dan is a donation and Vidya is a, I do not call donation. I am only sharing with the knowledge whatever I have learnt. As a matter of fact, I have gone to realize from school only education is done. Vidya dadati vinyam vinyat yati patratam cha dharam sukham oti. If you want the whole world to be peaceful, it has to be education. Similarly, in Hindi, सरस्वती के भंडार में बड़ी अपूर्व बात, ज्यों ज्यों खर्चे त्यों त्यों भिड़े बिन खर्चे घटियात. That is also something I learnt in school when I was a child of hardly 6-7 years alone. Then come to the question. After that, I've come to realize that Tantra Vidya is the one which gives you much better knowledge than any of the books available in the world. When I say Tantra Vidya, mean Tant is body education. In that, perfect anatomy, perfect physiology, perfect biochemistry, perfect psychology. All the four are there in Tantra Vidya. Very subtle, suksham and otherwise. Being a medical doctor, having gone through the gross form of anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and medical sciences on one side and Tantra experience within self, the same thing in a subtle form, I think I am able to understand much better. And that is the knowledge which gives me wisdom to excel in every subject. Now the comes to question of Kundalini. As I told you, Aditi itself is Kundalini and Atma, and the one who is Kundalini is fully awake. Only that person can be enlightened. Education will be perfect. He is not a literate person. He knows data, information, knowledge, wisdom absolutely correctly without any defect of any nature anywhere. That kind of wisdom can change the world with this. Unfortunately, that kind of wisdom is not available anywhere in the world. And this particular video is only from the point, unless until we have the impeccable wisdom of Devyank, and Devyank is associated, only then we can understand the knowledge which is uniform for everybody and nobody can find fault with that. And I'm just trying to share that experience of mine. Now comes the question of chakra. As I say, there are 10 chakras in the center part and 108 chakras, but they go clockwise for energy and anti-clockwise reducing energy, and they are the one which give you the power to move up or go to sleep. And Sat Chakra Nirupana is the ancient Indian book, beautiful book by any standard. It talks of only 6 chakras. It does not talk of 7 chakras which everybody talks about. But I talk about 10 chakras which is not spoken by anybody till date. But I associate them with endocrine gland and autonomic ganglia and show how they work subconsciously, unconsciously, consciously and superconsciously within to give us the perfection by and large. It is 10. But Sat Chakra talks of 6, but they are complete with the reptilian brain which centers on autonomic nervous system, endocrine system as such. I think that was the perfect knowledge to give me a start. Now come to the question of Muladhara Chakra is lowest in the bottom where two chains of sympathetic system, left pyramid and right, merge together at the bottom, and you can go to sleep only when the Kundalini is there. Within that particular chakra, Kundalini can make sure that we have no physical problem, emotional problem, mental problem or otherwise. You are a perfect human being. If your Kundalini can go to sleep and you can comfortably sleep as and when required, I think that is. So most important chakra is Muladhara, which is right at the bottom, and I will put this is heaven within the human being. Now the question is, Kundalini can rise from Muladhara and reach Sahasrara on top of the head. I mean universal consciousness, through breathing itself. And if the breathing increases with the oxygenation of ferrous of the hemoglobin, give you aura around, and that itself can rise, and you can still be universal consciousness, see the external world completely without any awareness of kundalini within your body. Also it is possible, and I have experienced that in the first 40 years before I was initiated into this, and they have been brilliant. That's what I want to share about it. Do not go for kundalini initiation at all. That is my point. Now comes the brahmachar is the one, the picture made by me in 1992 is very clear. Unless until you have a great character, divine virtues of honesty, truth, non-violence, everything perfectly, only that person can have the intelligence, intuition, wisdom, otherwise not at all person. It is not brahmachari, it's a brahmachar. A character of the person is great. Only a person with great character can. And it is also said, money is lost, nothing is lost. Health is lost, something is lost. But character is lost, everything is lost. I think a statement which is very well known throughout the world. Now comes the concept Brahma Granthi. The Kundalini can move from Muladhara chakra and break this thing, which is this nerve between the central canal, the spinal cord, and goes inside, and that is internalization is absolutely essential. If you want to feel one within yourself, you see the entire universe within yourself. That is where Akhand or Brahman and Pedant both become one. And for that, this has to break and go into that, and you can experience that within self. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Now the second thing, this internalization of Kundalini or Aditi within, and I have seen the Ida, Pingla, Sushma Nadi, within the Vani Nadi there is vein, and within that the ventricles, and then you experience everything within yourself. Also you experience the entire universe within your body itself. You become an instrument of divine consciousness by and large. And that is possible only if you're done in many lives and done with it. But I am sure all the people who are looking for wisdom, they are born as a reincarnated, they can do it provided they start looking for wisdom one by themselves. Nobody is going to teach them, and I share it, but I give the credit to the students who do extremely well. It is their work which they do, not me. Mine is only a guidance. Now comes to the Swadhisthana chakra is very important as the second chakra, which gives you the power of testosterone. That means you'll have a good muscular body, lot of RBCs, lot of hemoglobin, lot of oxygen, lot of intelligence, lot of intuition, other thing. Other until Swadhisthana is completely perfect, you cannot move on at all. As a matter, Kundalini when it wakes up, goes to Swadhisthana automatically and then moves to the other wherever your thoughts go. And as far as I'm concerned, I get up, stand, and when I get up, I straightway do pray to Mata Vaishno Devi and then move my life on the work which I have to do. I am focused only one thing which I need to do, not a two things come whatever may. Concentration, contemplation should be perfect with one object alone. If you can do only, then you can eliminate all the defects. If you have flirting, fleeting mind consciousness, then you cannot be a yogi at all. Chit vritti niro. Stop the fluctuation mind and become one with Antaratma. Only then the evolution can come. So when I take the thought and whatever thought comes, my mind goes to that part of my body as the universe. And then I know what are the different possibilities, and I can easily pick and choose the perfection which is required. Then comes to the question of Vani Nadi gives you the power of Ojas and Tejas. You are just like the mace of Hanuman. That is where it is misuse and disuse of sexual energy is a waste. But making up to you, having it all the time with a negative and positive fit perfectly is the one who can be intelligent, not otherwise. No misuse, no disuse, no brahmacharya, no indulgence, nothing at all. Optimal utilization of Antaratma is more to take you to the Akhand Yoga by and large. Then come to the Navi chakra, the third, which has got the third adrenal gland, which gives you all the energy. See, like it maintains the water concentration, sodium concentration, glucose, hormones as well as if required amount of sympathomimetic adrenaline or noradrenaline all are produced. The person whose adrenal is perfect, he would live much longer with a kind of intelligence unheard of. Maybe one person who comes to my mind in that example is King Ravan. Could not be killed even by Rama unless he attacked the navel or the Navi chakra and cut his blood supply to adrenal, and only then he died. Till such time no other part bleeding could do it. And that's the beauty of Tantra Vidya. Now comes the fourth level is Manipura chakra, which is connected with digestive system. Once your digestion is perfect, your liver is perfect, your spleen is perfect, your pancreas is perfect, your gastrointestinal system is perfect, your digestion will be perfect, and it will move as a peristaltic movement from up down. And that's where the fourth level comes very, very clear. Now comes this Vishnu Granthi. All the four chakras are there within abdomen and pelvic region only. To go higher, they have to pass through diaphragm. Diaphragm is a big barrier between higher consciousness and lower consciousness, and I call that the Vishnu Granthi. Incidentally, I'm lucky that I experienced that during my initiation into simplified Kundalini Yoga, when I had gone and the person, when he initiated me, moved from Manipura chakra to Anhata to Ajna by and large, step by step. And that's where I realized the movement was through the left and right vagus nerve, whereas other movement is through sympathetic system. This is cranial parasympathetic, vagus alone. Then come to Anahata chakra, the fifth chakra which I talk about it. It is connected with endocrine gland thymus, which gives you the immunity to fight any infection within the body and outside automatically. And once this is done, this is endocrine system is very clear. You will not fall sick come what may. No allergic, no hyperreaction at all. I have explained that very clearly. And you have a very beautiful cell-mediated immunity. When it comes to the next stage, the prana, I spoke about it. Oxygen is very, very important. I've spoken about water, glucose, electrolytes, and other things down at the first four parts. When it comes to Anahata chakra, this is where oxygen comes to play, and this role is centrally about the lungs. And now you can see the left lung has got 2 lobes, right lung 3 lobes, and that is according. And I have also explained right respiration is absorption of oxygen from the atmosphere and expulsion of 61.8034 carbon dioxide. I have explained that beautifully, and that is the perfect breathing we can maintain. Only then we can have a perfect health. So oxygenation and optimization is required. Over oxidation, oxidative stress is a dangerous. So you need to over oxidation to reduce with antioxidants, and that is also one of the research which we did. Now comes to the Akhand Vidya is integrated. A person who is in tune with the universal consciousness would be able to see the revealed even the secrets of sun. This is a picture from dug from Ayodhya temple down, and no one in the world could show the beauty. I have shown that beauty is the divine mathematics. You have 1 0 in the center, surrounded by 7, then 13, then 29. Whole divine mathematics of sun, earth, moon, and the whole cosmos is there. Whole divine mathematics there, and this was done more than 5,000 years ago, in my understanding, by Maharishi Yajnavalkya as such. Not 800 years old. It's that old. Done during Janak's kingdom by Maharishi Yajnavalkya. And now comes to the entitled soul who are born. The picture which I have shown, you have the Anahata chakra right at the middle, and Vigyan chakra in the center, and Sahasrara chakra. When all the three things are open up with the opening of higher centers, and I'm not talking about just Vishnu Granthi, I am talking about even Rudra Granthi, everything. Only one person who's born with after enlightenment he has no block. In a sense, if he goes to the conscious block of Rudra Granthi, this and that, it's only artificial. Otherwise, they are working inside and outside. Otherwise, they cannot be excellent. And that is what my point is. I had experienced, then automatically worked on that without realizing as such internalized. 40 years outside, done very well. Now comes to the question of how did I start learning and sharing the wisdom by and large. Let me start with the first thing, that I was born and brought up in Katra. So I do know that Trikuta mountain is Divyank, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, three, all to put together, give me the wealth, give me the wisdom, give me the moksha, all the three. And the person who has that will never ask anybody for any favor. He will do and achieve everything by himself. And as a result, I would say reservation or any begging person can never go to excellence. Only people who do work on themselves do not expect anything. They earn their things. Only then nature gives them plenty. If you are in the habit of asking, begging, begging, still not working on your own, and that earning your breakfast, lunch, and dinner and house, everything through your hard work, perfect work, only those people can be enlightened, and those people will never ask for any money for any of the things which do. And that's it. Whatever I learned, I share with everybody, irrespective who is. That's why सरस्वती के भंडार में बड़ी अपूर्व बात, ज्यों खर्चे त्यों तू बड़े बिन खर्चे घटियात. And that's the reality. And having then learned that in Katra, in Jammu, in 10th standard, I taught everything to my friend Arun Kumar, who was sitting next to me in benchmate. And he also benefited, I also benefited money and recurred. No wonder I got a research mark of 532 in the higher secondary corps of Jammu and Kashmir in 1967. Arun got 504, which was second, and third, nobody was more than 500 by and large. But I'm very sorry to say, Arun Kumar benefited tremendously in my presence through the mutual dialogue. Unfortunately, 11th standard, he moved out for whatever reason, and he could not even get into medical college. It's very unfortunate. But I am very grateful to my teacher, Suraj Prakash Raina, who was a form teacher of medical thing. He is the one who really showed how to find the right answers in books and move on. Hands off to him to bringing me into very systematic structure. So I am grateful to my great teacher, Suraj Prakash Raina, for what I am today. He laid the foundation very, very strong. But I shared and learned, and then you're going to see the results of it. Now I'm get my first board exam in 67. In this picture, you can see I got 532. Arun got 500. We are next to each other. And my name was changed to Shiv Bhushan Sharma because Bhushan is my actual name. My father had written Shivlal Sharma because every family wrote like Lal. But anyway, that's a different story. Now, after finishing 11th standard in school, Shri DANVEER Multilateral Higher Secondary School, they gave us a provisional certificate, and I'm very happy to show this because in this conduct is written exemplary. This student is an example by he cannot be compared, and I wonder how many students at school level would get an exemplary certificate when there's nothing one to compare with. But all my teachers who taught me for 3 years in SRML Higher Secondary School knew very well there is no question which comes for which I have no answer. And I think that is brilliant. And to tell you very frankly, before coming to this school in Katra, I had got 91%, which is 300 marks more than the second person in the class. Unheard of. But that's how excellence comes. And excellence comes for a person who knows the perfection, who knows what is taught, how defective it, what could be the perfect one. Unless until you have those kind of essays being written, you cannot get 100 out of 100. And I think I have done that very well in my school itself as such. Then come to the question of my initiative to simplified Kundalini Yoga in 1991. Then 93 I applied for PhD research in the University of Madras, and 95 work we started, and the results which came out of that were phenomenal. Let me tell you, 2001 when PhD was given, this is the picture where main subject was me and control subject were other brilliant students, my contemporaries from Madras Medical College itself. And you can see in the first picture, Samadhi is stage when my concentration is the head. You can see the power is almost 3 times the power in other people, but structure of both theta, delta, alpha, beta and total is both me and the identical. Only difference is power is much more than them. That was first thing which was great. And here again, I was only a subject when the whole research was done in Madras Medical College by experts who took conventional EEG and also converted conventional into digital by an expert who was PhD from IIT Madras, A.C. Gangadhar, brilliant person, and he did everything by himself. So he is the one who was doing it, and I was only the subject. And finally was used by the doctor committee saying this is a unique part and you be the subject, we will do the other thing. So there is no question of statistics otherwise. This was the something which was accepted, was a brilliant, and everybody appreciated. But real thing comes up here with the open eyes. And I had realized that concentrating with closed eyes does not give you much. When the eyes are open, your external thing is also there, your internal. Only when you can stop the distraction, you see the external world from inside out. Only then you are a perfect Akhand Yogi, otherwise not possible. In this picture you can see the Samadhi yoga, alpha and total are predominant, whereas you do not see the same thing in other control subjects. I think that was brilliant. That's why no wonder this work was called highly commendable in 2001, when in the scientific thing it was unheard to find highly commendable work in any of the things, because no science subject would reach that level. It will be more like a copy and things like that. But this was considered highly commended, particularly by an American examiner who was a brilliant physiologist. The question he has raised, the answer was brilliant. Now, subsequently in 2018, again pictures were taken, and this is taken in Chettinad. In all the 64 parts of my brain, with eyes closed, I can produce 8.5 hertz throughout the brain. That was unique as I improved after getting Divyang as such. But with the open eyes, it came down to 8 hertz. As a result, it is the same frequency which is very close to Akash Kosh, as 7.83. So universal consciousness and my brain were in tune with each other like an FM radio. And this is a picture of my guide, Professor A. Namachuan, who was my teacher, who taught me neurosciences in Madras Medical College in physiology, and also was my guide. In his testimony, he says that A to Z was done by me on my own, started from scratch and took it to everything. He has great things he had talked about it. I think hats off to him, where guide says, I am only an observer. I am not the actually person who is doing it. Subject is done by a student, objected everything. We were only analyzing. We are not the doers. And that is the kind of research should be done. You should have the subject experience and then only do research. Do not copycat the thing and then have an idea with the defects, and your defects are found. Even that is true of even Einstein. 100 years ago, he got a Nobel Prize. Brilliant work. But 3 people said and came that he was defective, and I can feel bad because all the scientific world around the world in publications are not as perfect as I would like hereafter to be. Now there comes to question of something which I started teaching others. But let me make one statement very clear. Since my childhood till today, I am known for a person who tries to help each and every person by and large. I share my money, I share my wisdom, share my knowledge, share whatever it is. I came with nothing, I go with nothing. Whatever is here is for everybody. And maybe as a doctor, I never charged a consultation fees, never from a student, not from anybody. I do feel that sharing itself and giving it to someone who deserves it is a great service to humanity, great service to divinity, great service to the entire universe. From that point of view, when finally 2009 I came to Chettinad University after spending 3 years in Sri Matavas University to start a new job altogether. But incidentally, I'm saying Chettinad University was formed in 2008, and the first batch there were 22 students. Out of those 22 students, one student called Prasanna Priya Naik. He was accepted as a student, and two guides are already done the preliminary work of his research work in Chettinad by and large. And it was first the dean, second was associate professor in physiology department. The work was done, but I joined in February 2009. By the time we came to April, May, after the first doctoral committee work of Prasanna Priya Naik had gone through, I do not know the reasons. After that reason, the guides refused to go with Prasanna Priya Naik's research by and large. I do not want to get into details. It is their thing, doesn't matter. Maybe that was required at that particular stage. And when he was rejected, he asked other people to guide. Unfortunately, nobody agreed. And since I had joined, he asked me, will you please guide me for my work, because I do not have anybody and I have to do my PhD work to get into a medical college of All India Institute of Medical Sciences and become a good research scholar. I said, don't worry about it. I took him. He joined and I accepted him. But at the same time, let me also share you, I was the most qualified person of the Chennai University when I applied. But your system of promotion, other things, so pathetic that instead of giving me an even assistant post to start with, which should have been the minimum thing, even without experience, I was put as a tutor. And that as a tutor I was, but I could guide because I had my PhD. I had the 3 books written already. So qualifications was good, not at all a problem. But since I had done this work only for my pleasure, I never published my work in any of the journals because none of the journal would accept it as a unique, because they think you are exceptional but cannot be published. That's again a problem in publications of unique, because they're only following idiotic way of acceptance, because you have to follow them. They have no system to see beautiful work. They only go by idiotic thing. That is what is the problem in maths, physics, chemistry and medical sciences research throughout the world. They do not have innovation of looking for perfection. Then I agreed to guide and supervise his work very, very well. We worked as a beautiful team, and I allowed him to do the research. And I told you, don't worry about, you do the research honestly, truthfully, step by step. I will see to it that whether it's scientifically acceptable or not acceptable, done with it. So I think that was a brilliant work. Now come to question that research became exemplary work. There were 9 original research articles, and all the 9 have already been cited, and 6 of them with the scopus which are considered to be the highly reputed journals. That means his work was accepted good for this research work. I think that was brilliant. The first synopsis of the university by him, the first thesis by him, first results of him, and first successful candidate was him only of the university. Can you imagine a new university, first candidate, synopsis, thesis, results and success is done by one person who has 9 research articles, and all of done, and 6 and scopus is unheard in any other university. That is the greatest record we created for Chettinad University itself. But fortunately, the kind of research which was required to publication for promotion from tutor to assistant to associate to professor level had to be done, and fortunately our team worked in such a way that he was the first author, I was the second author, accepted by Medical Council of it, and I was promoted within 7 years to a professor's post. And I think that is what, when you have wisdom and you know how to go about it, I think that is what I'm talking about. Vidya DANVEER. This is literally a giving knowledge to someone to go on and present it. And I can tell you, in his own word, had it not been for me, he wouldn't have been able to do this work. And I'm glad to say that after getting this, he applied in All India Institute of Medical College, Jodhpur, and became professor. Now he is the editor of another journal, doing extremely very well. I think that's a privilege which I had. Then the second PhD research was another lady, Lakshmi, from the first batch itself of 22, the second one, whose guide left the university, and she came to me for research. And I said, no problem, I will do the research, but you are a nursing professor. Your is only subjective thing, and I'm not very happy with subjective analysis of our PhD work. It should have an objective agency. So as a result, I say you bring in power spectrum analysis, EEG, into the process, and also the music, which is absolutely perfect. So I designed and edited the music, and my friend Pandit Janardhan Mitta rendered the music, and I call that as Divyang. It's the second video in these my videos already, and that music was used to give it to the subjects on the subject who was elderly citizen living in hostels. And when it was played to them, EEGs were taken, and when analyzed, we found that alpha frequency reduced and kept to alpha frequency when eyes were opened from the temporal region, which has never been done by anybody else in that. And that is what was unique in that part. And I would say this was as unique. The music is unique, and so is it. And that is where Vidya Dhan comes. If your intention is good, only then nature will work. Otherwise, not going to work at all. And the work was highly commendable. In Naik's case as well as Lakshmi's case, all the three examiners said highly commendable, and they did not raise any question at all. Then there was third candidate from the same batch of 2008. Out of 22, incidentally, 3 of them came to me by default. 2 I had finished, and by the time 2000, she went through another thing, and after 4 years of work, she was forced to quit because there were differences of opinion between the doctoral committee and the student, and there was no concurrence to bring together. And this is where I would say a guide is important, because he's supposed to show the student how to do it. He's not to do it, but it's duty to make sure that student does not make 4 years you go through, and then you after 4 years the whole thing is quit because the doctor committee does not agree. And that is again a system, because your research is done by the people who do not understand ABC. So she had to withdraw in 2012. Having done that, 2015, after the completion of my first candidate, Naik, she approached me. Can you be my guide? I want to work again. And I was telling it, you don't worry about it. If you become under me, we'll find a new subject, will do extremely well, because you are a very capable teacher and you are perfect from the department. I have seen her working very conscientiously. It was joy to guide her for work, and I can tell you it was her work. I'm only a supervisor to make sure that she does not make a mistake, and nobody in the doctor committee or otherwise is able to stop her. And I did the same thing with Naik, I did the same thing with Lakshmi, and I did the same thing with her. I am here to guide you and protect you at the same time. And I'm glad all the 3 I protected, and the results are brilliant. And she worked on exercise, more of oxygenation, and the process. It was brilliant work. Every person appreciated her work, and I think that's a privilege. Now I can really say, if the students are always good, it is the teacher who's important. If the teacher is brilliant, student do very well. If the teacher is not open to ideas, is not innovative, No student can do very well. Say the student who were failures in the eyes of others became highly successful under me, and that's it. And I would say copying old research designs is a pathetic research. There is no research at all. You are doing things just to fool the world, not anything. I think that was a brilliant by and large. Having done that, I thought that was a turning point in my life. If you are good, then your student should also be good, and your student should also produce 100% results. And as I have done, my students have done. Now I'm going to tell you another incident in the same university. There was one girl, Kirtana V. She had done BSc in nanotechnology in the same university of Chettinad University, Arcare. But let me tell you on record, her school record as well as graduate record, she never got more than 80% of the marks. She was considered to be an average student by any standard. And with that thing, instead of going for nanotechnology for MSc, she opted for occupational hazards and industrial safety for her MSc program. And for that, along with the student was sent to me for teaching them anatomy, physiology, etc., biochemistry for MSc program of the subject in the first semester. Why at first day of teaching itself was interesting that she was listening to me very carefully and raised a beautiful question. After the discussion of 3 hours of class, I asked her, "You are so brilliant. Why are you going for occupational hazards and industrial safety? You should go continue with nanotechnology, or you go to neuroscience. You will do extremely well." And then she said, "I did this because I can get a job and I can help my poor parents with the money." I said, "You will get only 15, 20, 30,000 rupees. You will not get more because more like a security job. There is no provision thereafter. Your MSc will not be of much of use. You will be more like a server." Then what do you? I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll teach you how to understand all the 4 semesters. Step by step you prepare and take you to stage, then you can go for PhD in neuroscience under me. Brilliant. And we will see that way." So I trained her, and one by one she went on improving in first semester to second semester to third semester to finally the fourth semester got 100%. And she became the best brilliant student in MSc throughout the university, called the gold medalist, and I think was a brilliant. But unfortunately, when she applied for PhD under neuroscience under me in the same university, same idiotic research department did not accept her at all. They did not. Then finally, unfortunately, we had to apply another university, and those people took her into nanotechnology rather than neurosciences, basically because they did not have the person to guide in neuroscience. I think that was the block. It doesn't matter. Now, as a PhD candidate in nanotechnology, life sciences in another university, she is doing extremely well. See, all polluted water she is able to convert into 95% purified water to be used is excellent by any research using nanotechnology process itself. I think brilliant to this, because this girl who was unheard of, unspoken, not at all. But I recognize the brilliance and done very well. And even during those 2 years of the classes, the kind of work she did with me on other subjects which are contemporary with the subject, I think the brilliant result. I am thankful to her. We worked together to do something, and particularly when it comes to the nano DNA structure and protons in whole thing was the joint venture of both of us, and I feel she's that's why any student is brilliant who's listening carefully. I make one thing, they should listen to me carefully, be hardworking, should have ambition. Only those candidates who are willing to do, I cannot do for anybody. Anyone who has an ego, does not have a dream, they cannot do very well in the long run at all. So thanks to Kirtana, thanks to Naik, thanks to Lakshmi, thanks to this, and after Arun Kumar, and hundreds and thousands other students in the process have done, and all of them came to 100%. But they were not on my subject because I was not a teacher. Now I am a teacher, I could. I think that is what his message is very clear. If you are perfect, you understand, and I do know Divyang can change the world. The process which I am doing can change the world. This is going to the language of the next generation with the impeccable wisdom. No other thing. That is done for the first time by Akhand Vidyashram, the first impact, and that is required for the world. And I think I leave it at that. Now this is the last picture. Let's not talk about it. I think this is enough for this. But this is the kind of research which I want, which is impeccable, 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 no defect come whatsoever. I have found defects in everything. Maths is man-made rubbish. Similarly, physics, similarly, chemistry, similarly, no medical person doesn't even know female menstrual cycle. Forget whatever. The people don't even know the perfect value of golden ratio in mathematics. Similarly, when applied in physics and chemistry, you make the same mistakes because your math is defective, your things are defective. I don't know what kind of research has been done. All the research scholars in the world, in my opinion, are copycats, fit for nothing. All the publications of leading journals fit for nothing. We need to change, and that change is coming through Akhand Vidyashram, and this is concerned. I think I leave it at that. Thank you very much.